Hello out there, and welcome to the Danny.
And Rihanna show. This is Danny Pena, Rihanna's husband.
And this is Rihanna Manuel Pena, Danny's wife. Today, we're going to talk about our careers and what it is that we do. Because there are maybe a few people who know some of what Danny and I get up to professionally, but probably not the whole picture. And this actually came to me recently during a live stream I did over on my Rihanna MP channel where somebody said, "Oh, I didn't know you worked at G4," and like somebody else recognized me from What's Good Games, and like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't remember you guys were not doing the podcast anymore. What's been going on lately?" So there may be a little bit of lore we need to update you all on, right, Danny?
Yes, yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but actually we went to an event in Punta Cana. It was like a meetup group, and there was people there like didn't know who we were, like things that we do, and so on. So yeah, it's good that we're bringing this up, Ree, because we've been in the gaming industry now for me. I've been doing it like for 25 years. For you, over a decade. I think we're like what 15
Over a
years or so.
decade.
Over a decade, yeah. So we've been doing a lot of content creation behind the scenes, publicly too, and now with our current business, DNR Media Consulting, we do a lot of consulting work for media outreach, branding, marketing, and so on. So for gaming companies. So yeah, it's good to bring that up. Like a perfect example is, wow, look at the zoom, look beautiful. Perfect example, we were in Dominican Republic, and we were posting content there about our journey moving to Dominican Republic, but I also was creating content gaming wise in Dominican Republic. So, I had products with me, gaming products. So I had like Xbox Ally X, I had the X Reel. So I was playing those and recording the content in Dominican Republic to talk about my experience. And right before we left Dominican Republic, I did an interview on ABC News, and that one was more for like things that's coming up for 2026. So we talked about Grand Theft Auto. So we're also gaming experts, where a lot of the major medias will contact us for us to be as a guest. Like last year was on BBC and so on. So BBC Business, I believe, right, Ree? It was something like that.
Yeah, talking about the
So
upcoming trends for the year in games industry.
yeah, so that's what we do. We do a lot of speaking engagements, and so on. So yeah, that's like the short breakdown, but I know we'll talk more throughout the podcast. But yeah, that's something that people are probably going to be asking, like, wait, but you guys do this here in the United States. How's that going to work for you guys moving abroad?
Yeah,
The beautiful thing about this is we work remote, so we could do this anywhere we want. Now, when it comes to
exactly.
travel, we could travel from Punta Cana. There's an international airport right there, just 15 minutes away from our area, and it's easy. There's so many flights going into Europe or United States. If let's say the United States is super close, not that far. But yeah, there's people that travel all the time from there for business, and they have businesses over here or in Canada. So there's things that we could do when it comes to that. So
Yeah. And we'll get a little bit more into what we see our future looking like in a little bit. But kind of backing up a few steps, what we do now is, like Danny said, a combination of in front of camera stuff like this and behind the scenes work. And for the in front of camera stuff, it's a combination of content creation, speaking engagements, hosting. Things we've done in the past. Like I said, was part of What's Good Games, one of the co-hosts, along with Brittany Brombacher and Andrea Renee Drake. And previous hosts, Alexa Ray Correa and Christine Steimer. Shout out to all the girls I miss and love you guys so much. But What's Good Games was really my first in front of camera content creation experience. And it's video games, funny stuff, and nerd conversations, and run by women. As I mentioned, all of the wonderful women who were a part of that experience, and an incredible community that really, really supported us and still rocks with all of us to this day. So shout out to the What's Good Games crew, and also to Kind of Funny, and IGN and Rooster Teeth, and all of the different companies and shows that I have been given a platform on to join and guest and be involved with. Has been really, really cool. And as one of a number of wonderful Black women in gaming, I'm really honored and take it very seriously that I have been given so many stages to speak on and to share my piece on as a content creator, as a gamer, as somebody who works in games on more of the development side. That has been really, really awesome. I've recently kind of stepped out on my own and joined forces with Gamertag Radio and Spawn on Me as part of the Spawnies. annual, sometimes annual award show with For the Culture. There's really focusing on Black and brown voices in the gaming space, and as also one of the people who kind of like guest spots here and there. So this year I will pop up on the Black Voices in Gaming annual showcase of the co-host, along with Derek Fields and all the folks over there. Shout out to you guys, and thank you so much for inviting me as a co-host, and many speaking engagements, a lot of which I can't talk about because they're for private companies. And I love talking about the industry, talking about games, but also talking about how our individual lived experiences make us better at what we do. And that's sort of like my speaker track, and getting really nerdy about marketing and branding and messaging. But yeah, that's sort of in a nutshell what I do as a content creator, in addition to on my own channel, again, the Riana MP, sharing some behind the scenes of being in the industry, of traveling and gaming, of gaming as a parent, gaming as a wife, owning my own company, and then just streaming some games and chilling. Recently, I started doing some more cozy streams, I guess you could call them. Streaming a game called Lo-Fi Spirit City, or Lo-Fi City Spirit Sessions, and just getting work done, like doing a co-working stream with some cool vibes in the back and some house decorating. And I like cozy games for that. I think I might do more of that kind of streaming. But yeah, that's sort of an overall look at what I do as a content creator, as a co-host, and as a speaker. And I know it's a lot, but it's all fun and it all makes sense to me. So it's been quite the ride, and I'm not getting off anytime soon.
For me, I started content creation back in 2001. So at that time, it was Nintendo 64, Sega Dreamcast, and so on. And later that year, I believe GameCube and Xbox was coming out. So this was all 2001. So January of 2001 was my first time I created content, and I had a show called PSO Radio, and this was dedicated to an RPG game that you could play with 4 other players online. And we had a strong community. We'll get together and just talk about quests and things we would like to see the game and so on.
Fantasy Star Online.
Fantasy Star Online for the Sega Dreamcast. So I did that for a little bit, and it got picked up by major media at that time, and then fast forward the end of 2001. That's when I created Game Voice. That one was more about all video games. So while I was working, I was also buying my own games, because I was not getting review copies or anything like that. So, but I ended up going to events for Nintendo and Xbox, and that's how I got connected in the gaming industry, and also Sega too, when I did my PSO radio show. And fast forward, that inspired me to launch my current podcast that launched in February 2005. It's called Gamer Tag Radio. It's one of the longest gaming podcasts out there, and this is during a time where there was no iPods, there was no podcast apps, there was no iPhones. People would listen to the show using an MP3 player or a PC. That's how people were listening to podcasts at that time. So I've been going to a lot of events throughout the years. I interview a lot of well-known people that either were execs at these gaming companies. Also has celebs on the show, like actors that also were involved with gaming projects. So think of it of Giancarlo Esposito, Keanu Reeves, just recently, Patton Oswalt. I interviewed him. He was involved in multiple games, I think Minecraft and so on. So, and he's a huge gamer. So I also had rappers on the show, Warren G, Snoop Dogg, De La Soul, Trico Quest. Either they were in the soundtrack of games. So I've been doing that for a very long time, and then in 2015, I got inducted to the Podcast Hall of Fame, first Latino to get this award. So, and first gaming creator to be inducted to the Hall of Fame too at that time. So, but yeah, I have a long list of stuff that I've been working on when it comes to that. I've done stuff for like TV, Discovery Channel. I had a show there for like a season. Done stuff for Telemundo. Been featured in multiple places like Game Informer, IGN, Univision, NBC, recently ABC News.
We did Paramount Plus.
We did like a panel about the Halo series. That was a lot of fun. So we do a lot of those things all the time. We get invited all the time to do guest appearances, to talk about, because we're experts too. We play games. We We know about the business side of games, and also we worked in games before. You know, we worked at Xbox before. You know, so that
Well,
helped
I'll
us
give a
to get
detailed
connected.
history of my behind the scenes.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
worry.
that's yeah. But I'm saying like that helped us to get connected with a lot of gaming companies for us to get opportunities because I travel a lot. I just recently went to New York for a Nintendo event. So Nintendo invited me to for me to play some games that hasn't even come out yet. You know, so like things like that we do. We get products sent to us here at home. So like we had X Real, the new glasses X Real 1S is called. That one we had it back in like late October, early November, and it came out just a couple weeks ago. You know, so like
We
we
tested
do
them
that
out
a
in
lot.
Punta Cana.
We tested out in Punta Cana. Yeah, exactly. So that's something that we've been doing it for a very long time. You know, we'll talk more about the consulting side in a few minutes, but you know, that's something that really helped us to open the doors to get more opportunities because we're content creators, you know. And the podcast I forgot to mention was also part of previously because right now we are in a part of Audio Boom podcast network, but before that we were also part of CBS Radio podcast network. And during that time, we were getting the most downloads out of all the network. Like we were surpassed CBS shows. So like let's say 24 hours deadline, I think it was called something like that. So yeah, it's the show is well known. So if you look up Gamer Tag Radio, is out there. You know what I'm saying? But I do a lot of speaking engagements. So a couple years ago, I released a children's book called Danny Loves Video Games. So with that, I did that with my cousin Jose Luna. Shout out to my cousin and
Shout out
his
to
wife
Mr.
too.
Luna and Miss Annie.
Miss Annie, yeah. So they have a children's book company, so they create a lot of books throughout the years. But they wanted to have one about my life, and it was great because we were like all over the news promoting this, and yeah, it was featured on Game Informer and a bunch of other places. So it was cool to
The
see that.
billboards in New York, which is the final picture in the back of the Danny Loves
I've
Video Games
see.
book.
I have a long list of stuff, but like, thank you for mentioning that. So yeah, I also was featured on 4 billboards in Times Square because that was part of the campaign from Twitch to celebrate Latinos here in the United States, where they create content on Twitch. So they had me on 4 different billboards, and I'm talking about big, humongous billboards in Times Square. So I went to New York during that time because I was only available for like 2 weeks or so. So when I went there, I took a picture of me with Ree, you know, next to my billboard in Times Square. That was cool. That got a lot of attention from a lot of people, especially, and we'll talk about this later, especially the government DR, Dominican Republic. So that's something that happened during that time too. So yeah. Anything else, Rika? This is a long list.
I mean, of course, there's other stuff, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I can kind of jump right into like the
sure.
behind the scenes stuff that we've done in our careers. And this is not an exhaustive list. There are things we can't talk about. And there's also
Mhm.
things that are just going to get missed because there's so many. You know, 10, 20 years in the business. There's a long resume, but we're just trying to give you guys an idea of why we do the kind of stuff that we do, how we're able to do it, and
Mhm.
what we're excited about. And we'll get to future stuff at the end of this talk. But for behind the scenes, I used to be in healthcare. I'm not going to talk about that life. It wasn't great. And then I sent out a blast to everybody I know and I said, I need a change. Here's my skills. Here's what I'm interested in. Everyone knows I love video games. These are some of my past consoles behind me, including my Dreamcast, which is signed by Peter Moore. Shout out to
President,
Dane,
former president of Sega America.
former president, and thank you so much to Danny for making that happen for me and during my birthday week. That was a really special moment, and I will forever cherish that console specifically for that, and also for Crazy Taxi. But
Mhm.
all of the behind the scenes stuff I do had really started in 2015. I was given the opportunity, thanks to my brother's wife, to talk to the team at Xbox and ended up becoming a project manager over there for localization. So I started off in publishing slash localization. That's where I learned game dev. That's where I learned how the process works, all of the different pieces that come together. At that job, I actually helped develop a system and a tool for submitting all of the age ratings that are needed for a game to release simultaneously in all the different countries that it does. That's hard work, and I made it easier for the team. Really, really proud of that. And all of the things that I learned there, I was able to carry into many other jobs after that. So I learned about like how games are developed. I learned about all of the different vendors that usually work on a game in addition to the full-time staff. I learned about publishing and how it supports the dev teams. I learned about distribution. I learned about like shipping physical versus digital. I learned about all of the different console needs and all how the different dev kits work, how things get to developers and all of the legal implications of all of this. Like there's so many different parts that go into game development, more than just coding, even though coding is obviously one of the more important things to get started. There's so much that supports it. And I got really, really inspired by all of the parts that support it. So I bounced around for a while in software development and software sales, in systems, and more stuff in the publishing side, in the production. And the last thing I did in that Xbox realm was working as a marketing manager on games like Ori and the Blind Forest 1 and 2, working on Age of Empires briefly, working on State of Decay, and helping out the teams at Rare for Sea of Thieves, and a lot of those first party games. One of my favorite games that I've ever helped ship, Tell Me Why, from Don't Nod Studios. A shout out to those folks. They are so amazing and so caring in what they do. One of my most proud marketing campaigns that I helped support and came up with some ideas for is that we actually sent out mailers to different influencers and creators who were interested in the Don't Nod game, and basically recreated the experience that you have in the game where you got two sets of information. You have to figure out what's true. And they had to do that online together because this was in the middle of COVID and nobody was going to events. So this was a way to virtually create what you do in the game before you even got your hands on it. And that's something that I really cherish, that I was able to be a part of. And the coverage on that was really fantastic, and I'm so glad people got into the solving the mystery because that was really fun. So that's the kind of stuff that I would do as a marketer and a product manager and all that stuff. And eventually I kind of like bounced around to different companies, can't talk about some of them, and found my way into Shout out to Blair Herter for poaching me from Xbox, because he absolutely just said, like, you should just come work for me. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Good idea. And at that time, I was coming out of a relationship and I met Danny and we decided to move in together. Kind of like in the middle of a pandemic. And Danny flew from New York to Seattle, helped me drive from Seattle to LA, and never left my side. And from then on, I've worked a little bit more high level work. I became brand manager and then director at G4, marketing and branding. Shout out to all my G4 homies. Y'all are the best. Some of the most talented people I've ever had the pleasure of working with. Brand team forever. And I love you guys. And we will probably end up working together again at some point, but I really just loved everything about G4, except the end result, right? Like, we didn't have the leadership at the very, very tippity top that we needed to keep going, unfortunately, but don't blame the people who are making the stuff. It is not their fault. And they've all been making really great stuff ever since then. So from G4, I moved over to a company called Zebra and Zebra Partners.
PR agency. PR agency, for people don't know.
A PR agency, Zebra Partners, has some really amazing people, founded by 3 women, former Nintendo execs, and absolutely brilliant at what they do. And I was able to help them build up their influencer campaign strategy, wrote a handbook for one of their big clients that I can't talk about, and also help with some of their marketing as a company as internally as well. So again, doing like branding work, marketing, all that stuff, that's the kind of things that I do for companies as an employee. And then finally, the last kind of bigger job that I've done as another employee in marketing and branding is I helped Brassline Entertainment revamp their website, get ready for the premiere of the trailer for Rise of the Deceiver, which is an upcoming video game from that company, along with Wu-Tang. So that was pretty amazing and something I'm really, really proud of. Again, worked with some of the best people I've ever worked with there, and excited to keep working with them. And that being one of the bigger things that I've collaborated with Danny on is sort of like the most recent public thing that I have done as, marketing and branding. Behind the scenes, even more behind the scenes, stuff that I've done. I've written for video games. Danny's mentioned before in this podcast, we wrote for NBA Bounce. Love that team. Love working with them. And also working with a studio called Mighty Yell, which I adore. And I'm going to be working with them again soon. And I can't wait for all of that. And I can't wait till I can talk about what we're doing because it's really, really cool. and also doing some other smaller projects for things that are either unannounced or that I can't talk about. But I love writing as well. And another place that that's popped up, a little bit lesser known, is the ESRB, the organization that rates video games and lobbies for them in Congress. I have written a couple of blogs for them, and hopefully we'll be writing some more soon on a parent's guide and how parents can prepare themselves to share video games with their kids, and some specific titles that I've helped review for the parents guide. So I think that's most of everything that I've done behind the scenes, and it will continue to do. And I'm really excited for all of those things.
You did forget about Ghostbusters, the game that you launched.
How did I forget about Ghostbusters? Wait,
Yeah.
I also love events. I love doing events. I love planning, launching, managing events, and I helped the team at Ilphonic. Shout out to you guys. I love you guys. My twin over at Ilphonic. I helped them out with their Ghostbusters video game party and launch party in New York during Comic-Con, and that was really, really fun. And some amazing people showed up, like Raphael Siddiq, of course, from Ilphonic is over there. Questlove played the party. That was dope. Oh my god, so cool. And some of our G4 friends rolled through, so you know, all the homies ended up coming back around, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, actually, the son of the creator of Ghostbusters, he was there. He's also a film director, so he was there, and also some of the actors from the most recent Ghostbuster movies. They were there too, checking out the game, playing,
and their parents, which was very
and their
cute.
parents. Yeah, it was really cool, really cool.
Good kids.
Yeah, it's a long list. It's a long list, man. So, and also we forgot to mention, we launched DNR Media Consultant. So during that time,
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, so that's what we had. That's our own business. But yeah, so for me, I know briefly Ree mentioned about, past work. So I used to work at Discovery Channel for a very long time. I started working with them right after 9/11. So February of 2002, I was there until 2017. Meanwhile, I was still doing my podcast on the side. But during that time, they gave me an opportunity to host a show there. So I know previously I mentioned that. And then from there, from Miami, I moved to New York City. And then this was like in 2018, no, 2019. I went to New York, and I started also being a TV host for Cheddar Esports at that time. So I was doing that not all the time. It wasn't full time. It was like a part time gig, But I was there always interviewing people, doing previews, hands on, and so on. Also commentary, like stuff that's happening in the news, in gaming. And then from there, while still doing GTR, sometimes I'll get like some like opportunities to like consult and so on, right? So, but I was doing that like casually, here and there. But fast forward, I met Ree. We moved to Los Angeles, and then I got an opportunity to work at G4. While Ree just got the job, that was also contacting me because they seen my work online, and they wanted me to do the same exact thing for them. So I was the the games editorial lead at G4. So what I was doing, I was helping X-Play TV shows. So I'll get a lot of game codes, game opportunities, also exclusives. Like the studio will have like an announcement or something like that. They'll come, give them a tour, and so on. Or I will work with WWE because I know Xavier Wood had a show there, or the Attack of the Show. That's another show that was part of G4. They will contact me because sometimes they need to use a game that will be broadcast on TV also. So I had to work with them and also with the publishers, for the publishers to give them the okay for them to either stream and also broadcast those games. So at the same time, I would bring a lot of celebs to the studio. So I had like Danny Trejo, Lance Reddick, rest in peace. There was like a lot people from there. And also from the executive side, I had Reggie Fils-Aimé, Peter Moore, which that's where I got her Dreamcast signed there. He used to be the president of Sega and also Xbox and EA. Reggie Fils-Aimé used to be the former president of Nintendo of America. So I've done that. Fast forward, because of the billboard, which I mentioned that earlier, the government in the Dominican Republic wanted to meet me, talk to me about some stuff, and they helped us to get an opportunity to do consulting work with the government in the Dominican Republic. Okay, they wanted to learn more about the process of game development and also the gaming business. So I also gave them feedback on that. gave me feedback on like how it is with content creation. Also did like a special video for an event that they had, because I think there was like investors and people that were just curious about gaming in this humongous venue. So that was really cool to do that. And yeah, re-mention about Wu-Tang, Rise of the Deceiver, that game, which is from Brassline. I did the media outreach for that. I had the opportunity to get the founders of the studio to do interviews before the announcement, while Ree and the team were working on the teaser trailer for a huge event called Summer Game Fest. So I got the team to be on Rolling Stone, Entertainment Weekly, and a bunch of other outlets. I think it was like Game Informer, IGN, GameSpot,
Washington
and so on.
Post.
Yeah. So that was really cool to do that behind the scenes. That was a lot of work, but we managed to do that. I'm really proud to still to this day. Also, that same day, once the teaser trailer popped up, the trailer was also playable. They played at the final tour of Wu-Tang all across the countries.
They
They
played
had
it at
it
every tour stop, and let me
every
tell
tour
you, that
stop.
was quite the task getting that
Yeah,
trailer ready for all of those
yeah,
different screens, different venues. Like it was a lot. Then
yeah,
having to
yeah,
change the QR, I had to change the QR code so many times. Like
hmm
it was a lot, man,
yeah,
but it was worth it. It was amazing, the reception, and having so many people see the work that our team put together was such a proud moment.
yeah. So I know that I've been also doing speaking engagements for a very long time. But recently, the past couple of years, gaming companies, want me also to speak internally for like their employees and so on. And there's some that I can't mention the names, but some I could mention that I worked on with. I mean, Respawn, they're under EA. They're the ones that worked on Apex Legends. They worked on Star Wars,
Fine.
Titanfall, and I also did also something with Offbase. This is publicly because they posted on their LinkedIn. So for those who don't know, they're an agency, so they work with a lot of gaming companies.
All
So that
great.
was really all the big ones, but it was really cool to do this with them. This was back in October, did it. And also Amazon Games, and there's a couple other ones I can't mention the names, but we've done that. Also, I did some stuff for like Xbox for like streaming and so on, you know. But very excited to do more of that in the future. And from the podcasting side, I've done speaking engagements at podcasting conferences all over the U.S. before too. So there's a lot more other stuff, you know. But Ree, if you remember any of them, please feel free to remind me. But it's a
I
lot of
mean,
work that we've done.
there's so much in there that we didn't mention, and it's not because we're not proud of it, or not because we don't feel grateful for those opportunities. There's just so much we've done right over the years, and being that Danny and I are both public facing, but also consult behind the scenes, it's a pretty unique point of view that we have as consultants and also as content creators, right? Like there are a lot of content creators who have experience or have dabbled or are starting to move into more of the behind the scenes and production side, and we can help with that. You know, we've seen it all, honestly, every part of it. And for companies that are looking to get into gaming or are already in games and are launching things and trying to get exposure or putting together their structure and their team, we help with that too, and fill in gaps where we need to. So we've been very fortunate, and the fact that our paths are both kind of like all over the place, because now we have such a really great understanding of every part of how this industry works. And as you said, when both of us consulted with the government of Dominican Republic, like we are able to give them a really great overview of how all this stuff is working. And we keep up with the trends of how it's changing because we both cover it. So yeah, well, it's really cool the way that we've evolved as individuals and as a team. I can't imagine any other path, because where we're going next, which
Hmm
we can talk about now, is so cool. It's so exciting, and I can't wait to get to it. And we can't give a lot of specifics because, you know, we say share your dreams, but we're not going to share the sauce of how we're making them happen, right? That's a little bit more personal and still developing.
hmm
But something that I'm really excited about doing with you in our immediate future coming up soon when we make this move is opening business in Dominican Republic and starting to operate out of another country and becoming an international business owner, which is just so cool.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm very excited. And I mean, we don't want to mention what it is exactly, but I see the potential of creating business over there. And for those who don't know, I also had a business in Dominican Republic. I was a kid. I was like in my teens at that time. I had a store where people will go and they will pay me per 15 minutes or like per hour, half an hour to play with my games. So I had Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. I had multiple TVs, lots of games, and people will come and play sports games. Or let's say the latest releases, Donkey Kong Country or Mortal Kombat 2 and so on. Street Fighter, people will come and play. So that was something that I was really proud of. That was my first business, international business, right? So, you
Hey.
know, but having a business with my partner and us doing this together in Dominican Republic, now older and now we're better at business, but doing internationally, it's gonna be a life changer for us. Like I'm very excited to make that move with three. Very excited. So we're excited to move, but actually and live there and experience life over there and everything. But having a business, it takes us to the next level. Now,
For sure.
we're doing business not only here in the United States but also internationally somewhere else. So it's exciting.
Yeah,
It's an exciting future in my opinion. But
it is. And I think something that is so obvious is Danny and I's love for gaming and how it can bring people together, like bring families together. It can help build communities. It can bring lifelong friends to one another. And it's such a cool way to share experiences that you
mhm.
can't replicate any other way. And we're excited to bring more gaming and more gaming opportunities to Dominican Republic and to Punta Cana when we move. You know, be that through our business, through our content, through just talking to people about it and, sharing more of what our insights and our point of view and how this can be a space to either create cool stuff or experience cool stuff or both. We are beyond excited to get started with making those dreams come true. And then once we do that, we'll add some more dreams to the list because we've been knocking them out, honestly. And I
100%.
never imagined I would end up in a place where I can start like creating things for other people to take and make their dreams come true. And that's really one of the most fulfilling parts of our future that I can't wait to get to.
And I want to mention this, Ree, because I think I never brought this up, but I think it is important for us to make this move and start a business over there. Because here's the thing: a lot of people will follow trends and not take a risk to do something new that's going to be impactful and like just you getting out of that bubble and doing something very, very new and different somewhere else is going to bring up a lot of attention, to us because of the things that we're doing. There, as of right now, I don't know of any gaming content creator that moved from here that lives in Dominican Republic in Punta Cana and has a business. Like I can't think of any of them,
If there
but
is, we
there
want
is.
to meet them.
Please, I would love to meet them. But I
Oh my
know
gosh, yes.
there's other gaming creators and so on. But like for us, it's different because yes, we are gaming creators, but we're a consultant. We worked on multiple games and so on, and we're also want to have more gaming events and stuff that have never been done in Dominican Republic. Like I know there's a lot of like esports and events all the time from like Capcom and other companies in Santo Domingo. But what about the business side of the of gaming? In Dominican Republic, from Punta Cana or any other places in over there, because there's a lot of talented game developers over there that have never attended an event here in the States for different reasons, right? But I know there's GDC here, Games Developer Conference. There's DICE. There's a lot of like business and stuff, but why not doing something different that will help also the local community game development to get that push a lot more, learning how to game code, how to code, I mean, develop games and so on, how to market games. Because
How to publish
couple
games.
yeah, how to publish games. Because years ago, I did a free workshop with Unity and a couple other people that have game studios in Dominican Republic. We flew over there and we did a free workshop all day. And there was people actually showing their games at the event that they worked on. That was playable and so on. It was really, really cool experience. And I would love to do that more in the future to help our people over there, to take them, help them to take them to the next level to show their work to the world.
Yeah, and bring more business to the island. Like ultimately, we
100%.
want our impact to be a net positive and not a drain, right? Like we're not there to
Hmm.
take, we're there to create and give. So
Yep.
yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna
I
be a
can't
lot of
wait.
fun.
I can see the potential, I see the potential of us doing big things. Like that was one of the first conversations we had. It's like, man, I want to do something big to help the people in the Dominican Republic, you know, for them to learn how to code or other things, you know, different workshops and so on. We talked about this for a very long time. It's not nothing new.
Long time ago. Yeah.
Way long time ago. So I still, it's still my goal. Still our goal to do this.
Yeah.
You know?
It's long-term goals and dream planning, and we seem to be knocking them out. So I'm excited to add this one to the list of check marks once we figure all these things out. So yeah, if you're new here, if you made it this far, that's us. That's what we do, what we've done, what we hope to do next, and we're excited for you all to witness it, right? Like we want to share how this goes with people, so you can see it's possible, and that you know that if there's something that seems a little crazy or unreal, chances are it isn't. It just takes a little bit of work, a lot of planning, and a lot of determination. So we're here to give you that kick in the butt and that person to root for, so that we can in turn turn around and root for you. So yeah, thanks for joining. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sharing our content.
Please continue subscribing and sharing it. Please, we need more.
Yes.
Let's go.
Please, and let us know what are some of the things that you hope to do in the future. You know, like if you're changing careers, if you're just expanding your journey, if you know you have a sudden restart, like we want to know about it, because that's kind of all of the above for us. So we're looking to share our experiences with you guys. So let us know how your stuff is going.
Yeah, one last thing too. If there's any topics that you want us to talk about or questions that you have, you know, because there's people probably that live here in the States that would love to learn more about the process of us doing this. Any topics, please feel free to let us know under the comment section below. I think that will help us out a lot to come up with more topics for us to talk about on the show.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to be out here. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and share the content. Like it. Notification bell, please do it. It will help us out a lot. And we're out. Until next time. Peace.
Bye.